All right, good evening. Happy Wednesday. It is, what is today? The 29th. It's February 19th, 2025. I'm Dominic Izzo. I'm the host of Cop Talk Live, Changing Cop Culture. It's a live podcast format program we do on Wednesday nights here on your platforms, YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitter, whatever it is, and podcast platforms, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, all that. And we talk about cop culture and the purpose of changing it. I'm a retired police officer from the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And this is my passion. It is talking about changing cop culture because it's pretty effed up. Wednesday nights, I do take your calls, 708-982-0974. I'll open up the phones in a bit. If you are watching the numbers on the screen there, you guys can call in or send a text and say, hey, I got something I want to say. And we'll get to you. We'll get to you in a little bit. But we need to have conversations. Guys, go to coptalklive.org. This is our website, coptalklive.org, changing cop culture for articles, videos, content that we do to wind up putting it right in your hands of hopefully changing a profession that I am no longer a part of, but my God, I love it. It's coptalklive.org. I appreciate all you guys who send me emails. If you guys ever want to send me anything, you can send it to 708-982-0974. You can also email me directly at coptalklive911 at gmail.com. And we have a show. It's as simple as that. It's good to see you guys. We do have a chat going on. April Schoen's good to see you. Sarah, how are you guys? And many, many more. You guys are my regulars. Thomas Wyatt, what's up? Good to hear you doing Wednesday nights. I appreciate that, man. I took a couple Wednesdays off. I got some vacation time coming. In middle of March, I won't be here for a couple of Wednesdays, but we'll talk about that. Listen, TikTok cops is what I'm talking about tonight. I have a story, if you will, from what happened over the other day. And I want to discuss some things via TikTok cops, and I will expose and play what I did, and then I'm gonna let you guys know when I own something, I own it. This is a reel that I did yesterday. And for those of you who don't know, I am sent for the most part. People will send me content. Hey, have you seen this? And I'm on TikTok, but I'm not as active as I'm not. TikTok is just a younger crowd. It just really is. Anytime it blows me away for the law enforcement stuff that I put up on Instagram. It gets received very differently on TikTok. TikTok is a younger group of men and women, and I think that stems a problem for a self-generating entitlement base that is an epidemic for law enforcement. But I saw this officer's content, and I did a reel about it, and I'm going to play it, and I'm leaving it up. There's a specific reason I'm leaving it up, but these are my words, and I stand by them at the time. And let me play them.
Number one, you know my name, not my story.
Literally, what's your story? You pulled somebody over on a traffic stop and understood the Constitution and state law so well that you did your job perfectly, and that person had a great experience with law enforcement and professionalism, or you're fucking whoring yourself out for your own self-interest and leveraging the uniform to do so, making it a mockery for other fucking women who are trying to be taken seriously on the job. Do you not get? No, you probably don't get this because you're a child and you're a narcissist, 100%. It's, hey, I am too, so I get it. I can spot one. But do you get that psychologically speaking, out of all the people they've interviewed when it comes down to those who are attacking cops, they ask them, hey, why did you feel that you can get away with attacking this cop? And they just said, because I could, because of how they presented themselves. They didn't take themselves seriously. They weren't a threat. They weren't imposing on the other person. You are breeding a petri dish for other women to get into this field and think, I can be a whore and a police officer at the same time and not only be taken seriously, which you never will, but I can be kept safe on the job because I've got this illusion that my 120 or 130 pound case, and yours, whatever it is, frame is going to be able to handle a 6 foot tall, 200 plus pound man who's overly aggressive and fucking can beat the shit out of me. And I'm going to set the stage to, I don't know, pave the way for other sisters in blue out there. Listen, You guys need to be bullied. You need to be shamed. You need to be fucking embarrassed, and you need to be called out. I don't know where we went wrong in the last 10 years with social media and law enforcement, and I think I had something to do with that. Officer Daniels, Mike the Cop, Tommy Norman, all of us who started this fucking Facebook shit 10 plus years ago. Yeah, that's our fault. But now it's on you to get your heads out of your ass, do the fucking job right, or get the fuck out. You are an embarrassment to law enforcement. You're a fucking danger to every other female cop on the planet, and you're doing nothing more than celebrating yourself instead of the integrity behind the badge. Get the fuck out of law enforcement. Every single woman like you and every single fucking man-child out there who does the same damn thing, because God knows there's way too many of you fucking little boys out there too. This is not law enforcement. This is a fucking me show, and it's goddamn embarrassing. So whenever I wind up critiquing police officers, it may not come across this way. I love the profession, and I really hope these men and women, keep themselves safe. That's a given. But what's your job, right? What's the nature of a police officer? It's to keep the peace and maintain order in a free society. And I didn't discover this until I was much later in my career as a cop, right, in my 40s, where when I first went in, it wasn't a calling. I was a bartender at the time. I was a 4 a.m. bartender who was making great money, but I knew that this job wouldn't last, and I couldn't bartend in my friggin' 50s and 60s. And I wanted a career. I wanted something safe. I wanted a pension. I wanted benefits. I took a government job because I wanted security. So when I first got hired in 01, it was not a calling. It was a job. I remember specifically my first FTO, Greg Vanko, great fucking guy. He used to tell me all the time, put officer in front of your signature on your reports. You have a title. I mean, I'm going 4 weeks into my training, and I'm not even signing. I never considered myself a cop. I just didn't feel it that way. It wasn't a priority to me. Later on in my career, you know, if somebody's always, or whenever people ask me, hey, I want to become a cop, you know, what do you suggest I do? And I would say all the time, why? What is your why for being a cop? Well, I want to help my community. That's always the main one, right? The fuck you want to help your community for? You're going to be pulling people over. Now, you could say, well, you're trying to prevent people from getting into motor vehicle crashes. Great. But we know any human being who says that they take no pleasure in handcuffing people, they're a fucking liar. They're a fucking liar. The addiction, the fuel into being a narcissist when we're the power we have as cops, it's insane. It's a drug. I love these cops with these pink handcuffs too. You're doing one of the biggest disrespects to a human being on the planet by taking away their freedom, and you're fucking making fun of it, right? We have no reverence in the ability to take away someone's freedom, but that's another story. When I was later on, you know, I came up with the answer, which is what I tell people. They're like, you know, when I say, why do you want to be a cop? Well, I want to help people. No, that's not your answer. You know, and I tell people this is what you should think about, meditate on, put it in your own words, and then answer it when you're in front of the board and they're asking you why you want to be a cop. And the answer is that I want to be the best version of myself. When you literally think about it, in law enforcement, it doesn't matter if it's a barking dog call. Doesn't matter if it's somebody, you know, somebody got their tires slashed, shots fired, whether it turned out to be fireworks or missing kid, all the mundane stuff that cops do on a daily basis, because everybody celebrates the chases and the stabbings and the shootings, but they don't talk about the day-to-day crap, the neighborhood problems, the civil problems, the paper calls that are such bullshit that they're not important to you, but they're important to the person who called 911. You are a 21-year-old. You can be hired as a cop, and it blows me away. And you have people in their 50s and 60s that can't solve their problems, so they call 911 or they call non-emergency, and they're asking for you. They're setting aside their pride to have some child in a badge and a uniform who has the authority to take away their freedom and or life if necessary. And they're asking you to help solve their problems. And what do? You fucking joke around on TikTok and you lip sync and you parade yourself around like it's some slut shaming contest. Your job when you take the role of a police officer is to improve yourself, to become the best version of yourself, to help others. And there's no greater job on the planet. No doctor, no lawyer, nothing. Not even a firefighter, because they truly don't have the nation. The first responder is always the police officer, the patrol officer.
Blows me away. You guys want detectives. You guys want this. You guys want that. You have no idea how important being that first cop on the scene is. You literally, life and death is in your hand. Not to mention the fact that you are in the moment where somebody's at their most vulnerable. And it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if they had a UPS package stolen off their front porch. Their world is shattered and they're calling you for the solving of that issue. They look to you for everything. You are in a position as that front line to become the best version of yourself. So when people are like, why? Well, I want to become a cop, and I ask why, and they give me the bullshit, I want to serve my public and all this shit, and that's the wrong answer. You want to leverage the town that you're applying for as a means to serve people better, and in the process, you become a better human being yourself, so you can put that back into serving more. It is that self-energizing, fulfilling concept of you're going to take what the public is giving you to become more to give back to them, and repeat and repeat and repeat. That's the answer that I found later on in my career. That's what that is. But we don't have men and women who think like that. This woman called me. Now, normally when I do content like this, it's harsh. It's fucking harsh, man. I do not go it as a nice tone. I'll never forget, when I went to FTO school to become a field training officer, the first words, and this was over 10 years ago. This was 10 years ago this month. And it was we had this cop who was teaching the class. There's like 30 or 40 of us in the class. We're all going to be certified as field training officers. And the first opening line that this trainer said was, "Congratulations, you guys are all going to be FTOs. Get rid of the phrase 'because I said so' out of your vocabulary." And he went off on this good 20 or 30 minute concept speech of, listen, this is a different generation. You might have somebody, and it's an officer safety issue, telling this kid, hey, you can't do that. Why? Because I said so. And it could have been to prevent them from being shot or stabbed or whatever. And the next thing you know, this officer, this trainee, this entitled, snot-nosed little shit that our local agencies love to hire is going to go to brass, and they're going to file a complaint on you. And some of you need to check your department policies. Some of you need to look at the ostracization clauses in your policies. Some of you need to look in your policies, like mine, completely contradicted themselves in one aspect of it, one chapter, one heading, one subsection. It would say that it's our responsibilities as officers to mentor one another, to make sure that we're on the right path, and if we see something, say something, all that shit. But in the very next chapter, another next subsection, it said that we could be brought up on department policy violations if we wound up bullying, harassing, or ostracizing our officers. So it's all perception of reality. John Doe is on a call with me, and I don't like the way that John Doe spoke with a citizen. What am I supposed to do? Go in and talk to the commander and go, hey, listen, I don't like how John spoke on a call. Right? Because now we know that John's going to get wind of that. He's going to know I said something. I'm a snitch, and he's going to, not back me up on calls, take his time. He's going to hate me, all this shit. Or I could take John in the Sally Port afterwards and go, listen, dude, don't ever talk to people that way again. You know what happens if you wind up violating somebody's Fourth Amendment or First Amendment right? My name's going to be labeled on that lawsuit right alongside you because I was the officer on that call. So watch yourself. And I may be trying to mentor or do whatever, but the next thing you know, now I'm a policy violation because I sat there and tried to correct him, but he perceived it as harassment and bullying. It blows me away. So we went through this whole discussion. I don't respect these police officers who don't see past their own self-edification on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, and that's what these children are doing. This woman got a hold of me. And she called. My number's listed, 708-982-0974. And called privately, and I answered. And she introduced herself, and I was ready for the attack. But I'm going to tell you something. Now, I just tore her the fuck apart in that video. I'm not going to I'll give you highlights of the conversation. It's not my place to say what happened. She recorded the conversation. I gave her permission for it. But she had apologized. And she had said, thank you. Apparently, my video gave her an insight to her actions, and she saw them in a different light. She acknowledged it was a trend she was doing, this and that. And I gave her shit. I said, how tall are you? She was 5 feet. I go, you can't have any advantage out there, or you shouldn't be at any disadvantage. If you're 5 feet tall, I'm 5'7". I'm 230. I'll wreck the shit out of you on a call. The last thing you want is me to have some perceived viewpoint of you online and then not take you seriously. And I'm going to tell you flat out, after about a good 20-minute conversation that this woman had spoken to me, I gained a phenomenal amount of respect for that officer. Huge. I told her I was going to leave the video up. I told her I'm not going to take it down because I want other people to see. I will shame the shit out of you. I will bully you. I will call for your beratement. I absolutely will. You do not deserve to wear this badge. But I will judge it case by case. And in her case, this is what I wrote. Her mayor, her village admin, her chief of police, and I wrote to the local media as well, too, that they should investigate this officer. This is my opinion. To the San Antonio Police Department. In a recent post on my personal and public social media, as well as in a comment response on your Facebook department post, I openly criticized one of your officers in a very heavily and publicly, calling for her to be bullied, shamed, and exposed for the quality of officer that we do not want on our street. This was due to one of her social media posts, which do not represent law enforcement the way that my standards for the profession are, regardless of if they meet your policy's standards. I am writing to say this officer saw my post about her, reached out to me and expressed her point of view in a professional manner, hearing the message behind my content, regardless of my delivery and tone, and conversed with me about her mindset, passion, and professionalism in her role as a police officer. This officer did not identify or associate herself with your agency, as I discovered who she was on my own investigation. I am writing now to acknowledge that I feel strongly that the mindset, values, and morals expressed to me by your officer, Amanda Nicole Brown, are exactly what I hope for in all of our nation's police officers. This officer's ability to hear an issue and address it while maintaining her integrity and openness to solving a problem while holding fast to her standards is exactly what I would want on the street as an ambassador for your department. Officer Brown's morals, characters, and integrity should be cultivated within your department to supplement the mindset of your agency as a whole. Although I'm highly critical of female officers and this new generation of young men and women who spend more time on social media leveraging their status as a cop to gain celebrity, I am hopeful that we are entering into a new era of cops who hold the standards as well hold the standards we all swore an oath to. I'm expressing my appreciation for your department for having an officer with the quality and character that Officer Brown does. She's a credit to your department in a time where retired cops like me are attacking those who do not belong in the profession. She absolutely does. Respectfully, Dominic Izzo. The point for why I gain so much respect for her versus others who I like to attack me and whatnot is she displayed exactly counter to the problem that we have with TikTok cops. And I'm going to look at some examples. Open up the phones like crazy. I think you guys are already starting to send some texts to call in. And I'll take your calls tonight. And the issue I'm having is that social media now it should have stopped. I did this stuff. Selfies in uniform. Never did dancing videos. Anytime I did, there's one video and it's gone. Can't find it because my Facebook page at its heyday had about 100,000 followers on it because we did Facebook back then. And my one video, what it really means to thank a police officer, went viral. And that's what really kind of launched my social media stuff. And when I did content on law enforcement stuff, it was always for the purpose to I'm going to do two things at once here. It was always for the purpose to gain awareness for the profession, right? That was my point. And I got blessed. I made it into, I was for RT America. Some of you think it's Russian propaganda. It got me on panels for discussing law enforcement. Armstrong Williams, I've been on his panel. Scotty Nell Hughes, I was always the person who she went to for a law enforcement critique. I've debated Dr. Rashad Ritchie on the Young Turks. If anybody's never seen it, I actually got Senk. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Unger or Uger. Here's the video right here. I actually got
with that.
Him to agree with me on law enforcement. You know, that I've been on these platforms thanks to my social media exposure. And this is probably one of my proudest moments. This was the point of why I did social media years ago. It was to spread awareness. And this is a documentary scene that the BBC put me in, and I was very proud of this.
All right, YouTube, it's Dominic Izzo out here in Chicago, and the last video I put up ruffled some feathers.
A threat is a threat.
There's a war on cops. You want to respect me, sir. You are supposed to be. I can't wait to be successful.
How would you describe the relationship between Chicago police force and the African American community?
The CPD's got a stigma. It's got a history. You can't take a clip of a Chicago police officer shooting a subject, a black male, 16 times and say it didn't happen. So yes, it's justified. But then we have the media who's not showing what happened before. We're having the media who's selectively taking out only one instance of the public dealing with the police officers.
If you're a smart, educated person, all you do is you flip on the news and you see a 30-second videotape of cops using excessive force, and you are intelligent to understand that there's way more to that 30 seconds and things happen.
There is only two factors that really attributes to a bad relationship between the police and the public, and those are young males. For the most part, if you look at that area where you're talking about a high crime area, what are we looking at? We're looking at a bunch of broken homes. We're looking at boys who have no fathers. So if I'm a white police officer, what 16-year-old black male who knows nothing about my life, who knows nothing about me, whose skin color is different than mine, do you think that they want mentoring from me? We're running into a wall.
Stop being afraid to do your job because of the damn video cameras.
Do you think the way that black people specifically, talk about police behavior online is exaggerated?
What does social media give you a chance to do? It gives you a chance to vent, and that will snowball into maybe you were an African-American teen, you're on a traffic stop, and you got pulled over for no reason. And your no reason was you didn't use a turn signal. It's a petty reason to you, but it's still a valid reason. So you go online and you say, I got pulled over for no reason. Then the cop asks you to step out of the car. Can you please step out of the car, sir? Maybe you turn that into, I got dragged out of the car. So now you're putting online, you got dragged out of the car. And then your license is suspended, but you leave that out because you don't want to embarrass yourself. So you say, and then they arrested me for no reason, and then I got taken off to jail. So now in your perception, you put online, I got stopped for no reason, they dragged me out of the car, and they arrested me for nothing. And that spreads like wildfire.
Do you feel like you're fighting a war?
All the time. All the time. How many police officers have been shot and killed this year alone?
This is me about to walk in the front door of my home, which is something that I get to do at the end of my tour because I made it home alive today.
The violence towards police is increasing. It's almost acceptable.
And that was a documentary I was a part of. It was great to be a part of that. And that was the point for me personally, was back then, was to be able to sit there and spread awareness of what the job was. Somewhere along the way, we lost the point of social media to spread awareness in law enforcement. And now it's a fucking clown show. We had two different types of personas back when we first started doing social media. And I think the two founders, and there's multiple. You've got Dion Joseph, who's one of the greatest men out there, greatest cops in the world, who has been Skid Row, a police officer. It's got to be 30 years at this point. Character like that, man. You'll never. It should be carbon copied. It should be a DNA sampled, and it should be injected at every police officer out there. You had Mike the cop who went to social media. Great balance between what he was doing, but the two, in my opinion, the two men who changed the face of the direction of what law enforcement and social media went through were Officer Tommy Norman and Officer Daniels. And we see that the way that it went Officer Daniels' way. Officer Tommy Norman, probably, and I don't know if he's still active, was one of the epitome for the backbone for community service for law enforcement, which was just, it's a redundant term. Policing and community policing is a redundant term. You should be thinking culture and community when you think of that. This man went into the poor neighborhoods, areas of his city where he policed, I believe it's in Arkansas, and he just the compassion and kindness of what you expect for police, that should have been just studied and standardized when it came down to then having cops find the balance between being the hammer and then being the gentle velvet glove, right? And Tommy Norman displayed on a level that just is incomparable of what cops should have when it comes down to community service. Then you have people out there like that. I think the closest thing to him today, I'm not blowing him. It is what it is. It's Detective Matt Thornton, Officer Matt Thornton. I think he went back to the road. He is up in my area. He and I'll brag about this, we've never met, but we worked just like 15 minutes away from each other, and we never even knew each other. And we've gotten to know each other over this last year. But he is the epitome right now of what Tommy Norman started. Officer Tommy Norman started. Officer Daniels, I'll give him credit. When I went through what I went through in my department, Officer Daniels was the only, even out of the guys I worked with, he was the only cop who ever checked on me. Didn't know him. Had no clue. And his random act of kindness, sliding in my DMs one day, just saying, hey, man, you okay? I was like, holy shit, was I fucking moved by that, man. But he went a different route. He wanted to bring humor and a lighthearted side of law enforcement to the profession. And some of the stuff that he was doing, we did, and we laughed all about it. It was fucking great. But you guys today took it way too fucking far. There needed to be a balance between Tommy Norman and Officer Daniels, and it just shit the bed. It just shit the bed. Mike the cop, Daniels, and other people, they tried that humanizing the badge movement. And what we have, and I started to look at this last night, I never really was on TikTok. And you can see, it's almost as if it's standard now that when you get a badge, the first thing you do is you go and create a TikTok account. And this is what we do. We have children.
Just look them in their face and say, am I extra or are you basic? Be a blessing.
What is the point of having your pink handcuffs out, which I think are disgusting? You're actually taking away somebody's freedom in the most horrible time of their life, and you're putting pink handcuffs on them, mocking them. It's a fucking joke. It's just disgusting. And we have, I don't know what this is. Okay, husband and wife. I don't get the point of these videos, and I started to look at them. I don't understand this. I have no clue what this is all about. Set the music. We're in our squad car.
Get ready with me for a 12-hour shift. I know I have an RBF face, but I promise I'm nice and I smile. Here's me in my trabajadora era. I'm on graveyards right now, and this week's my short week. I only work 2 days.
What do we care about watching you get ready to be a cop? See, this is the problem for what law enforcement now went through. You had the point of Daniels. Officer Daniels was meant to show the lighter side of law enforcement and give people the insight to, hey, these are people that actually, it's a stressful job. They could have fun. It's great. Then you had Tommy Norman, who was showing the role of police officers with their compassionate side. And man, maybe, it's a hard job on them. We went from taking a culture and trying to humanize it. That was the point of humanizing the badge. somewhere along the way, it turned into people who were humans hijacking the badge for their own self-interest. And I talked about this yesterday on a reel. I watched a woman who's an extremely proud lesbian and a cop. I don't care about your sexuality. I highly doubt anytime somebody wound up seeing me as a cop, they gave two shits that I was in the swinging lifestyle and I was openly Catholic and Christian at the same time. I don't think anybody gave two fucks about it, and it shouldn't have affected my performance. And if I was up online talking about that and holding, like how you guys do today, an upside down pineapple, wouldn't that be a little bit disgraceful? But today, we openly support gay and lesbian, and that shouldn't matter, and it doesn't. But now we're seeing cops or people who become cops to take that badge so that now it can enforce their voice because they want to talk about their social issues, and nobody would give a rat shit who they are if they were just a person who was in plain clothes in their cars talking. You have to have an angle. So because police command could not get a handle on social media policies, because they did for us, They killed Officer Tommy Norman's passion. You can no longer do this in uniform. Can't do it in uniform anymore. So what's the point? He's trying to reach out to the community to use that uniform to say, hi, I'm a cop. This is what I'm doing. So then it became, now all of a sudden we have people, because command staff couldn't do that. And there were certain, I think it was policy or departments on the East Coast who said that it was unconstitutional that departments issue restrictions on their videoing or filming or social media posting with their uniforms on, as long as they didn't show the patches or agencies they wore on, right? So now we have these children who, number one, you guys don't realize what you're doing. How can any of you, when you go test for a sergeant's position or chiefs, or you want to go to the mayor and you want to be appointed the chief of police, how can you justify half of these videos that you're doing? I never thought about it. Shirtless selfies, squad car selfies, I'm eating a hot dog, I'm doing whatever. And they were tame compared to you guys. But looking back on that, I never tested. But if I did, how do you justify this? How do you literally go in front of your command staff or your village board when they go, hey, listen, you're applying, you're testing for sergeant. Are you scored highest? Can you explain why you spend how much time in your squad car lip syncing? I mean, I'm surprised. I don't know her. I'm just ripping on her. But Ashley Smith went from patrol. I'm all about fitness. You got to pick one or the other. But you can't be over-sexualizing your position and then get promoted and expect to be taken seriously. She did more damage to her credibility as far as I'm concerned because she leveraged the badge to sexualize her persona. We all did. But did any of us think about how that's going to put a hindrance on your professional career as you go? Which just shows you guys aren't thinking about your future. You're leveraging the moment and the lack of professionalism. Instead of thinking about being a cop and serving the public, you're thinking about yourselves. So ultimately what I'm talking about is when it comes to these kids who are now featuring their own social issues, when it comes down to having that badge, so you'll hear me now because I'm wearing a badge, can they be trusted to exercise proper discretion and no bias when it comes to being a police officer? Can they? I don't think they can. What happens if somebody sees my position? Whatever it is, who cares? Like they hear that I'm Christian, right? They assume that I condemn the LGBTQ community, and then all of a sudden you pull me over, and you're a lesbian or you're gay. You going to give me a ticket, or are you going to exercise proper discretion and base it on my actions, not my behavior, not my language, but my actions and whatever violates it? Or are you going to hold your own personal biases and assumptions into place? Oh, he voted for Trump. I didn't. Okay. We're in a day and age now where we got huge social issues overseas. Can we trust cops who have any type of passion towards Palestine or Israel to actively exercise proper discretion and do their job if we see online that they like or they comment or they support one side versus the other? We just went through one of the worst election cycles ever. How many cops are liberals? How many cops are conservatives? And they're going to use their badge to express their political ideology. Or again, the one cop who is lesbian who puts up there, she's very masculine and she has masculine on out of her hashtags. What if I think it's a fucking joke that A, we have females who are cops and females who don't know what their sexuality is, and I don't respect anybody like that. Is she going to be able to properly deal with me when it comes down to exercising discretion as a police officer, or is her emotional, social bias is going to take over? This is an issue we never had when we were on the job. Never had this problem. I'm a Christ follower. I didn't give a shit if there was a Muslim that I had to deal with. I'm conservative. I didn't give a shit if I had to pull over a liberal. They have an issue. All right, what do you need? I'd go to gay guys. I was, hey, listen, our backyard got vandalized last night. Fuck, man, let's take care of that. We never let our social issues even remotely impede on a thought when we serve the public. But we're addicted to our phones now. I can't put my phone down. My phone's in my hand fucking 24/7 when I'm not sleeping. How do we have a day and age where you have people like that Officer Brown who called me yesterday to discuss? I can't fault her. It is the generation of police officers we have now that do this. This is what these people do. They're in their own self-grandizing bubble of look at me, look at me, look at me. Can we trust them to go code to a call without looking at their phone and saying, I just posted a video, I want to see how many likes I got, because they're literally addicted to it. The dopamine level is insane. We know cops text and drive. We know they do. We know they check their statuses. If you're saying you don't, you're a liar. You've done it. I did it. Well, a video that I saw when our body cameras record us was our cop, when we had a cop online, who was going code to a call, doing 45 miles an hour down a 20-mile-an-hour street, driving the squad car with her knees, lights and siren, while she was texting her phone. But now then that was 10 years ago. Where are we at now? Those kids were 21-year-olds were 11. Now they're 21 and they're doing this job. What did they get raised on? Where is their mindset at? What is this? And it is narcissism, guys. I don't care who says what. How are you able to translate this into dealing with the public? This is a problem I have today. This is my massive concern with TikTok and all the stuff that it's going through. I saw this. I want to give her an opportunity. This is Rachel Blanks, Ray. She's a TikTok cop and she justifies it. And I want to hear what she has to say about it.
So there's a lot of people lately, oh, you're a TikTok cop, you're a TikTok cop. And I am. One.
Now keep in mind, this is on duty. This is on duty. I don't want this shit on duty, because even on this, I get irritated if my phone rings while I'm creating a content, right? If my dogs bark. I can't imagine the frame of mind of you doing content. And when you do content, what are you doing? You're doing a self-proclamation, right? Because we think that, and make no mistake about it, I'm a narcissist. I do not hide that whatsoever. We think that we're important. And if you're on our page and I've got X amount of thousands of followers, clearly my voice, I got a microphone. My voice is the most important one here. And if you interrupt me, how dare you? I could say, oh, it's okay. But I'm really thinking, how fucking dare you, dude? It's narcissism. As a police officer, you already have that authority. You put that uniform, I will tell you, when you put it on, I will tell you, it changes you. It's a suit of fucking armor. You feel invincible when you put that uniform on. You feel like you're God's gift. And now you're proclaiming your truth out there to the world on your social media. What happens when somebody speeds by her and she actually has to do her job? What actually when a call comes out? Or did she lower the radio so that it won't come up over the speaker and record on the phone? I used to do that. And I used to make sure that I turn it back up. Did I miss a call? What's the priority is the point. Is it doing your job? Or is it, no, I got to do this content first. And to the public that doesn't think this will affect them, judgment is everything. You have given the responsibility of men and women to take your freedom, to ruin your life, to give you a court date, fines, arrests, losing your job if you can't make it to work that day to explain your job. Sorry, I got arrested for some bullshit by a cop who had an attitude because I interrupted her social media shit, and apparently she thought I hated gay people. This is the most dangerous time for cops to be on the street because they're all about themselves. The oath they swore means fucking nothing to them.
This job is very, very, very stressful. Let me say this again. This job is very, very stressful. So if I can get on TikTok on my downtime and scroll and laugh and watch some videos or create a video, who am I hurting?
I'll tell you who you're hurting. You're hurting the profession. It's on your downtime. How about you study? How about you stay up on current court cases? How about you be able to recite Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, First Amendment? How about you brush up on your department policy? How about you better yourself? How about you get out of the fucking car and do about 20 push-ups? What are you doing on duty, taxpayer dime, in uniform to advance yourself as a professional police officer? What the fuck are you doing? De-stress? It's not a stressful job. It is not. It's the most difficult job in the world because you have to appease two sides, people who support the police, people who hate the police, and your command staff. The only people, I will tell you this, the only people who make law enforcement stressful are your supervisors. That's it. The public does not. I've been to shootings, I've been to stabbings, I've been to dead children calls, multiple car accidents, fatalities, petty bullshit all the time. I was never stressed by the public. You could be down paper, right? You got fucking 13 reports you have to write, and tomorrow's your fucking Friday. And you got to come back in, and it is Friday tomorrow, which means you're going to catch about another 10 to 15 fucking calls, and that could be 5 to 10 more reports, and you got Friday. It's your long weekend. You're going to get 2 to 3 hours of overtime staying overnight, writing those reports. It still didn't stress you out. Command staff is the only thing that's legitimate stress out in law enforcement. So to say it's a stressful job, it's a fucking lie. It is the most privileged based job in the world. You're going to get free coffee when you walk someplace. You're going to be able to speed all over the place and never get a ticket. Many of you, a disgusting amount of numbers of you, are going to abuse the drinking and driving laws, and you're going to do so. And you're going to expect professional courtesy. It happens every single day. There are cops who drink and drive, and they think they're fucking entitled and invincible. And they're human beings that I personally think should be given the death sentence, but that's just me. This job is not stressful. It's never stressful. It never has been. So for you to de-stress on your downtime, I call bullshit.
Who am I hurting? Am I hurting you? Oh, this is what our tax dollars are paying for. You're just out fooling around. And I am. So I just walk around and don't pay taxes? I don't pay taxes either. Do y'all think we're always working? Like, do we not have downtime?
When you're in that uniform, you're always working. And here's the deal. This is the caveat you guys like to say, right? Well, I do know. And this is a law that I'm not really familiar on. But cops, to my knowledge, and it may depend on state to state, don't have seizure powers when it comes to them being off duty. So theoretically speaking, you see somebody running from somebody after they just robbed somewhere, you can't arrest them. You don't have any seizure powers on duty unless you're state police or county. But I think municipal cops don't. So if it's off duty or downtime, why are you in that uniform? Do your shit off duty, no uniform, and express what your stuff is like. But you guys you are irrelevant without the fucking badge. That's as simple as that. You have to come to the terms that every single one of you men and women who are on social media, you do not have an identity unless you wear that uniform. And you're abusing that identity for your own narcissism. That's the whole fucking point of why you became a cop in the first place. It's not to serve the public. It's to serve yourselves.
Do we not go home? Yes, and we're always working. So that's a double sword question. We're always working because on our way home, something happens. We have to stop. We have to stop. So until we get into our driveways and take this uniform off, we're always working.
Are you on your driveway right now? In uniform? Always working. What happens if you get a shots fired called on the neighbor? I'm doing a TikTok video. Give me about 30 seconds. What happens if you got a barking dog? So says, officer, my neighbor won't shut their dog up. Give me a minute. This is a self-serving, narcissistic, title. That's the only reason you guys became cops.
So all the people you're a TikTok cop, and I am. I will go to TikTok all day, every day to relieve my stress because this job is very, very stressful. You go to one call where someone...
Then we shouldn't have females. Are you a diversity hire? Are you entitled because you're black? Should we be listening to you because of that? Did you just openly admit that you cannot handle the stress of your job, so you have to constantly go to social media in order to relieve your stress? Does this affect, and this is where people don't get, and I actually believe she's wearing sergeant stripes. This is a commander. So are we saying that we gave someone a promotion, a salary bump, who openly admits they have a difficulty handling their stress? Should she be given psychological evaluation and she's allowed to carry a gun? What happens if somebody looks on the street and they look at her and they insult her due to her gender, due to her race? Can she unbiasedly allow free speech to happen? Or is she going to resort to use of force, a deadly weapon, because she can't handle the stress, which she openly admitted? The other part of this too is, how do you dumb, stupid police officers not realize that you are leaving a fucking trail, a cornucopia, a Christmas orgy of gifts for defense attorneys? Next person you arrest. Oh my God, if I were, I should have, I'm so dumb. I should have gotten a law degree. The day that TikTok cops became a thing, I should have instantly gone on and got my degree, practice law, and I would have found out, you got arrested? What's the cop's name? First thing I would have do, go on scour their social media. Oh, Sergeant Blanks, were you stressed the day that you arrested my client? No. Wait a second. Sergeant, let's play you back your own words here.
So all the people you're a TikTok cop, and I am. I will go to TikTok all day, every day to relieve my stress.
So if it's all day, every day, Sergeant Blanks, are you lying that you were not stressed the day that you arrested my client? Well, no, those are your words. Okay, you are. Do you believe that your stress level, your inability to handle stress, was it a factor in the decision you made when you arrested my client? Well, no. Well, Sergeant Blanks, you can replay your own words if you need to, but did you not say all day, every day you are stressed and you go to TikTok to relieve your stress? You guys are fucking yourselves all day, every day on TikTok.
Because this job is very, very stressful. You go to one call where someone is dead right in front of you. You have to provide support. You have to provide aid. And then you have to show up to the next call where 8 or 9-year-old does not want to get out of bed to go to school. So you have to, again, take care of that. It's mentally...
That's not stressful at all. None of that shit is stressful. I've had dead infants in my hands. I've seen dead children. I've been on the calls where you're guarding a dead body for fucking hours until the coroner gets there and you're like, oh my God, this fucking... And you listen to the family crying and moaning. I've seen the dead teenagers who couldn't get out of bed because they were dead. None of it was stressful. None of it was. Command staff. It was always command staff that was stressful. And I've been to the shit parents. Oh, my 14-year-old told me to go fuck myself. Okay, miss, you don't need us. It's a problem you could have solved 14 years ago. Nothing about the calls of being a cop is stressful. Not one fucking bit. Not the dead bodies, not the overdoses, not the fucking arrests, not the fucking chases, not the DUIs, not the fucking battered women, not the abused kids. None of it is stressful. None of it. Because in the moment, you're a cop and you actually compartmentalize like crazy. Later on, it was just a call. It's just a call. The command staff is the most stressful thing, and she's a part of command staff.
Draining. So if I'm gonna get on TikTok and watch 1 million videos and post my videos, I can't say what I want to say, but I will be a TikTok cop. It relieves my stress. That's my decompressor. That's one of them. So if you don't like it, then you don't have to watch. You don't have to watch. You don't have to comment. Keep scrolling. you're making it your business to comment on my video. Just keep scrolling. Too easy. That's it. That's all I have to say.
I can't imagine being this, and this kind of stuff is triggered because I've done this kind of stuff where you justify the comments and you respond to stuff. This is triggered from not the stress of the job, but the stress of the opinion of anonymity from people out there who comment on your stuff, and they don't give you the feedback of what you want. It's not the self-fulfilling narcissism of the content you put up in the first place. You guys are killing this career because you're serving yourselves. You're not serving the public. You're not serving the oath you swore to. This generation of cops who are out there are going to be the death of law enforcement. They are embarrassing themselves in a way that I'm blown away with. It's insane, and it's a disgrace, and I blame for what we did. I gotta make some of your calls here. All right, I'm gonna call you guys in order. 708-982-0974. 708-982-0974. Don't forget to check out coptalklive.org, guys.
Hello?
Yep, it's Dominic. I'm calling you back. We're live. What's going on?
Hey, do you want me to talk about TikTok cops or just cops in general?
You talk about what you want to talk about. You're the one who said you want to have a conversation. I'm calling you.
Absolutely. Just didn't want to hijack your
You can hijack
your video there.
You can hijack anything you want, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically I'm not a cop, never been a cop. Got off, I was a Marine, active duty, infantry, never seen combat, deployed, but, getting no combat. I work with a lot of cops doing armed security for a government building, essentially, plate carried rifles, all that good stuff. Cush job, well paid. The things I hear these cops say, though, they should all be in jail. Every single one of them. Maybe not 2 or 3 of them. I mean, it's, whether it's things they've done, things they've wanted to do, the way they think, there's no way they haven't violated people's rights when they were cops.
I don't know. I thought some shit. We used roll call as the time to be extremely inappropriate and say shit about the citizens. And, we'd look at the fucking people we arrested and be like, that guy's a piece of shit and blah, blah, blah. We used roll call for that, like a purging. And we kept it under wraps, and we were professional when needed to be. But I always said, I think one of the things that should happen with law enforcement is that body camera should be recording 24/7 when somebody's on duty.
Absolutely.
Nonstop. Because this was my reason why, is the public needs to see, going back to humanizing the badge, they need to see that I walk up to a car. How are you? I'm Officer Izzo with the so-and-so police department. The reason I pulled you over today is, you were doing 25 over. It's only 35 here, and you're going X amount. Do you have your license insurance on you? And when somebody is a dick to me, and I go back to the car and I close the door and I'm in the privacy of the squad car, still knowing I'm being recorded, I have the safety to say, what a fucking cunt. Get it out of my system. And you know that I'm still a human being. You know that I have those emotions. But now I got to exercise that. Well, officer, was that person's, was there cuntiness towards you? The reason you issued them a ticket? Was your discretion on that? No, that's not the reason. If you set a standard, and your standard is like every call you come back in the car and you're like, man, that guy's a piece of shit, but you still do your job righteously, you can start to separate. You can show the pattern. Oh, look, our cops are still emotional human beings, but they're keeping that at bay when they're exercising discretion, going out there, and they're actually doing their job, and they're not bringing their personal bias into this. I think that's one way. So, I mean, when it comes down to what they said around you, I've said some egregious shit, man. I really have. And it's like, it didn't really change how I policed. I was able to compartmentalize and be a professional. So I don't know if that's the case, but maybe you heard some stuff that was a lot more damning and their actions were, I don't know.
But I can give you a couple examples if you like.
Well, why not? Go ahead.
So, okay, let's talk about one specifically. It's probably the most egregious one. So we're doing our, active shooter training, right? Get all that wrapped up. Now we're tabletopping. One of the command staff, and this is an off shift, so there's not as many of us there, and there's no captain there or anything like that. It's just the lieutenant and the rest of us there. But he says, straight up to all of us, if the active shooter is down on the ground, put one in his head. He's not a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
no, that is. Yes, that is. I've talked very much.
Like, again, and like I said, I was active duty infantry in the Marines. We were taught you put the problem down hard, and if it's still alive, you render aid when there's no longer a threat.
Yeah, I personally think that the Marines should have annihilated everything that fucking breathes. That's just me. I think law enforcement is different. Let me ask you a question. I'm not putting you on the spot or anything, but did you say anything? Did you go to any type of supervisor and kind of say, hey, listen, this is a concern?
I did say it to a couple of the lieutenants.
Yeah. That's.
But, again, a whole other situation. So, and again, this one's shift brief, which again, God blowing steam and whatnot. I understand. I've made some pretty shitty humor with my Marine buddies. But one guy, so he was a city cop in a big, large urban city. And he said when he was going through academy, they told a story about another cop who came upon a guy. He was choking a female officer out against a wall, takes his baton out, winds up and just shatters the dude's knee, drops him and he's like, because of that story, I carried my baton for the next 6 years in the hope I could do the exact same thing. And I'm like, okay, it's not like, first off, I've had baton training, you're supposed to do not joints, not heads,
large muscle
groups. Yep. So bad training. And again, not the intent of, I want to save a fellow officer. It was no, I want to bust a dude's knee.
We've had that. We had that. There was a cop who's still active, and he actually turned out to be a phenomenal police officer. And he and I have talked about this. He was brand new. He was still on probation, and we all went to lunch one day, and it was machismo, and we all think it. I love to fucking fight. I'm getting older, man. I still love to do it. And there's times I got to go, dude, you're 50. Knock it off. Some 25-year-old's got your fucking number. You're not going to be able to keep up with them. But we're all at lunch one day, and he goes, man, I can't wait to get in my first fight. And it's kind of like the fork dropped in the diner, and everyone went quiet. We all went, what are you? Don't fucking say. You're in a recorded room right now. We're in the police department. You can't say that shit. We had a female cop was with the agency next to me, and she didn't last that long at all. We had a huge melee. It was New Year's Day night, 2016. And she sits there, and it was like 7 people brawling on the side of the road, and like 15 of us showed up and do what we had to do, take them to custody. And we're in the Sally Port, and people are bruised up and they're limping out of the squads, this and that. And we're all just like huffing and puffing. She goes, that was fucking awesome. We kicked ass. And we're like, would you shut the fuck up? Your video and audio recorded right now. I get the adrenaline dump. I get the want to celebrate that shit, but we had the assholes. We had the asshole 500-pound mouth, 110-pound body, fucking Shannon, who was a female cop who used to walk in talking about all the guys she would beat up on duty. It's like, no, we cleaned up your mess. You started shit, but you cleaned up your mess. The job breeds a temperament, a very odd fucking mentality that I never understood. And, we hope that a lot of times it grows out of people, but the problem is how much damage are they going to do during the time when they get the job to when they do mature? Could be years.
Right.
And sadly, that could fuck people's lives up.
Have you heard of Lieutenant Colonel Grossman?
Yeah, Colonel. I have his book. I've read most of it on killing. I've never read on combat, but yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman.
But that's what I was going to reference was that book, and he talks about how the military learned, hey, we need to train our guys to actually kill humans, right? To go from bullseye targets to silhouette targets to stimulus response, and that's what we taught our military how to kill people. And I know you talked about, militarizing our police and whatnot. I've, watched a lot of your videos and whatnot. But I think a lot of our police, and again, it's kind of that thin blue line mentality, the us versus them, is a lot of them are starting to view the American population as the enemy.
Oh, God.
How long they've done that.
Yes. Oh, yes. 100%. And it's vice versa. The cops are the enemy. I will say, I think more military should be police, because you guys have the ability, when mature, to tone it down, because you have taken it that far. The problem with these children that we have and some of these female cops and these skinny males out there is, when they can't take someone into custody with their hands alone or show up. You're a Marine. I would have to assume, I don't know how tall you are, don't know how much you weigh. I would have to assume that your presence alone is one of self-respect and pride, and that's going to reflect in how you dress and how you present yourself. That will take the fight out of most people alone. When you have these kids show up on scene and they don't have command presence, and they have to use force, and they're like that Officer Brown, 5 feet tall, as I told her, or some of these other cops who are unbelievably fucking fat and out of shape, they're going to advance and accelerate that use of force all the way to shooting and killing someone, because they can't win the fucking fight on their own. And the law is going to back them up. And a lot of them put themselves in that situation to be tested. They love the fucking badge. They love the fucking gun. They love the authority. And they're going to come up to someone like you and find out, well, you're a Marine, but I'm a cop. And you know what? I'm going to push your buttons. Mouth off to me. Let me see what I can do. And they're going to try to, it's self-testing. And that's a problem. You guys don't need that. You guys have been tested. I think it's easier to take a Marine and tone them back and put them in a stage where, hey, you have to exercise discretion, compassion, blend with the community, than it is to take a citizen and give them weapons of fucking war and then say, hey, now use them only when necessary and lawfully justified. I think it's back. I think we need more military people who could tone it down versus civilians who say, oh, now I get to play military. Now I get to pretend that I actually have authority. I think it's far more dangerous that way.
No, I'd agree with you 100%. And that's the big thing I think Grossman talks about, is that the military are taught discipline, particularly the Marines, because they still drill. They still, it's meaningless when it comes to war. It's all about disciplining your body and being part of a unit. But these police officers, even the ones some of them don't even go to academies. No. They don't even get post-certified. And the ones that do are, 9 months? So they
9 months?
Really get the discipline.
9 months. I was in for 3. My last department, they hired 3 children after me. They didn't have enough FTOs. Right. They cut them loose after 6 weeks of training. It's my police chief who retired. He had no legitimate police experience, and he was a police chief. It's our
like you're saying, a lot of them are overweight. A lot of them can't shoot. We qualify every 6 months.
I couldn't. I was horrible with a pistol. I was fucking phenomenal. I could talk you into handcuffs, and I could put you into handcuffs. Pistol, dear God, you better have been 5 feet in front of me. Fucking,
But what's even funnier is the ones who can't figure out the rifle. They, maybe they know the pistol because they were city cops, and that's all they ever had was a pistol. And they had to qualify, so they learned how to do that. But they couldn't even load and operate the rifle.
Yeah, blows me away.
And these guys have been, we have SWAT cops, we got sheriffs, deputies, we got all kinds of different walks of life there coming in. And our top shot is a cop. So, there's not all of them. A lot of them can shoot. But, the majority of the ones we get, they pass. That's not saying a whole lot. And then, back to fitness. It's a complete lack of discipline, kind of like you were talking about the TikTok generation, the narcissism, but not actually being disciplined people.
Blows me away.
But yeah, that same lieutenant that was talking about the baton deal, we had a conversation a couple years back, and I was telling him, I was like, dude, I'm more scared of cops than I am the criminal.
Oh, God.
Because I can deal with the criminal. But if I get a cop on a bad day, or, again, how many of them are bad, how many of them are good, and he comes with the backing of the state and 30 of his buddies who aren't going to listen to my side of the story.
They're 100%.
I can handle a criminal.
100%.
The cop scares the shit out of me because he's the government gun.
I've said it a million times. Cops will always win because they have more people on the street, and there's that mindset of the human going, shit, it's like, it's not, we don't think like, all right, hey, I'll go to war with you and I may not fucking walk away. We think, I don't want to go to jail. Confinement and loss of freedom to me is 100 times worse than death. And it's like, fuck, these guys are going to kill me. They're going to put me in jail. It sucks. Hey, I appreciate your call. I want to get some other people, but I thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right. 708-982-0974. If you guys call, I will call you back. Over in the chat, Chris in Katana. Izzo, can you give us a semi-comprehensive opinion on what the fitness standards should be for cops? Age requirements. Should women be cops? Will definitely be removed. Will DEI be removed from the U.S.? I'm biased. I have worked. I've said this, and I say them all the time. Vanessa, I worked with her. Fantastic fucking cop. Sandy, fucking incredible cop. Michelle, great cop. Fucking outstanding. Fucking Sarge from Round Lake. I can't remember her. Sergeant Nicole, great fucking cop. I've worked with some real pieces of shit. An ex of mine was a female cop who actually, we didn't get along when we dated, but she translated that into integrity with being a cop. She actually had the ability to turn it on when she was a police officer and was a professional. So it's like I have that, but this generation today, no. I think that the generation of female cops should have been eradicated probably around 2020 because these little children coming in, they embarrass the shit out of themselves. They cannot do the fucking job. When it comes to fitness standards, it's antiquated. It's insane. Bench press, X amount of weight, sit-ups, if they still do that shit, sit and reach and a 1.5 mile run. What? No, I think it should be a lot different. I think it should be based on a sprint, an agility, push-ups or pull-ups. It's insane. I think it should, but you can't do it because a lot of departments fight against their command staff and the policy, saying it's a violation of their health and rights and all this shit, and they can't. You cannot enforce a fitness standard as a law enforcement. You can incentivize them. Hey, we'll do a yearly fitness mandate, and we'll give you a day off. We'll give you a paid day off for that. But it blows me away that they can't do that. 708-982-0974. 708-982-0974. Hang on a second. I got to flag. Here you go. Guy called Mike here. I'm calling you. Guys, don't forget to go check out Cop Talk Live, coptalklive.org. Coptalklive.org.
Hello?
Hi, Mike. It's Dominic Izzo. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
Good. You are live. What's going on?
So, sorry, I had to step outside because our nephew is about a year old and he's having a little bit of a fit. So I can talk to you outside. So I've been working. I'm currently working as a correction officer, a detention deputy, for over 14 years, and I'm crossing over into law enforcement as we speak. I've been watching you for years, been a big fan, and I wanted to know what's the best advice that you can give me as somebody with my experience coming over to the road. Any advice or any guidance would be greatly appreciated.
No, I don't think you need any. I think the only thing I will ever tell any cop all the time is don't you ever, under any circumstances whatsoever, doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small, never fucking lie. Sergeant comes back and says, hey, did you write that report? Yeah, I did. No, if you didn't, don't fucking lie. Hey, did you go answer that call? Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Don't fucking lie. Did you stay over for that an extra 30 minutes? Yeah, I didn't know. Never, ever, ever fucking lie. If the second, you don't even do the whole, hey, I want to pull that car over. Ooh, I don't think I see that guy's seatbelt on. Ooh, I don't know. Nope, don't fucking do it. The second you lie, you compromise your integrity. You can never get it back. Corrections? No, you got it. I think every single cop in America should start in corrections for a minimum of 2 years. You are forced to learn what mouth is. You are outnumbered 30, 40, 100 to fucking 1 with
I completely agree.
no weapons on you. Tell me that I used to think that it was corrections had a different eye for like, man, you guys could spot contraband better, hidden weapons and manufacture weapons, all this shit. I came from the bartending industry, so I already had an ability to talk to people. So being a cop never was an issue for me. But when it came down to the corrections, man, you guys, you have to have that. You have to let somebody think that they're fucking being respected when you know that they're a piece of fucking shit. But you're letting them have their way for a second to distract them so that you can wind up doing what you need to do to calm the situation down. You put them in restraints, whatever you got to do. And then you're exercising command presence when you got some bad motherfuckers locked up. You got some insane motherfuckers locked up. You need social skills. And I do not think that there's any better training for law enforcement than corrections. No, I think that you're going to be light years ahead of anybody else who's on the road.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. On the other topic of the TikTok cops, as we were you were touching on tonight, unfortunately, my agency is completely guilty of that. I cannot stand it. I voiced my opinion on that. I don't want nothing to do with that. All I want to do is do my job, do it to the best of my ability, and ride the next 10 to possibly another 15 years left that I have on the job, and do the best of my ability, serve my community, and retire happy. And last, that statistic over 5 years after retirement. I think my wife gets a little nervous every single time we're approaching, another year into like me almost going 25 years. She's like, hey, are you being healthy? You hitting the fucking gym?
Let me ask you a question. Why leave corrections? Why go to law enforcement? Why go to the patrol?
That's a long question.
Why?
And I've been getting that lately.
You got 14 years on, the job. You can do, if you're going to you can do another 6 blindfolded. You already know what's going on. If you've been flying under the radar, is what it is. A lot of people, myself included, we never, and this is the only, TikTok is not a bad thing if you're going to showcase the profession. If you showcase yourself while leveraging the profession, you're a fucking juvenile. You shouldn't be in the job. But none of that.
That's the problem I have with that.
Yeah, nobody thinks about their advantage. I never thought about it. When 2015 came and all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm on Facebook and YouTube and all this shit, I wasn't thinking, man, I can leverage this to become a commander, sergeant, chief one day. I never thought about my future. So then I'm trying to explain this to these idiots who are on TikTok. They're thinking in the moment, which means they don't take the profession seriously. They should be doing the profession serious, and they're not. So with your corrections, you could say, what about brass? What about command? What about staying in? What about climbing the ranks there? Why transition? This is another question too. Why transition into a field and a profession where you got to put yourself at risk to go through probation all over again? And if you got a personality conflict with somebody in the brass who maybe they're a threat to you because you got 14 years on corrections, they've got 5 years on the department, but they're a sergeant now, and you're going to be on patrol, and they could bounce you anytime. You could be bounced any fucking time on probation. You go and you pull over. Now you're pulling over somebody who's black, right? And you're used to dealing with people a certain type of way in the jail, talking to people a certain type of way, and you bring those skills out. But now all of a sudden you're on the next YouTube sensation talking to somebody a certain type of way that the public isn't already aware to. Are you willing to put yourself at a risk for 18 months of probation where you could be fired for any reason that the department seems so? Even if they just don't fucking like you, they'll make something up, all to throw away a career of 14 years in corrections.
Well, okay. I'll answer on one part. The one part is because within the 14 years I have experience in corrections, it got to me to the point, and I had this conversation with my wife last year where I was getting complacent. It was the same thing over and over again. I didn't see myself moving up in rank. I just wasn't political kiss ass. And it seemed to me that it was the name of the game. No matter what I did, no matter how many accolades I got, whatever teams I was on, not how much I was liked by my supervisors and my command staff. It was just like, it wasn't enough. So I was just like, okay, I need to challenge myself. Otherwise, I know I'm gonna end up, becoming something that I don't want. And for me to progress in my career, I figured, go into law enforcement. I know when it comes to the risk, because I've got a lot of friends that
you're already in law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, from corrections to law enforcement.
Well,
unfortunately,
no police patrol. You're already in law enforcement. You are a member of law enforcement. What state? Don't tell me where. What state are you in?
Florida.
Florida. Yeah. Okay.
I knew that was going to be your answer.
Well, it's like now, instead of being in a building that's got some kind of climate control, are you ready? Because you're fucking the low man in totem pole to be thrown in the shit squad on midnights that has no air conditionings when it's fucking 95% humidity outside?
And the hurricanes and everything else.
Sure, you got that. Are you ready for it? It's I don't know. It's conservative there. Are you ready if your political views don't align with the ideology there, and then all of a sudden fucking, that's going to happen? And then are you ethnic? You kind of sound like might be leaning towards a little bit more color than me in your skin.
I'm Hispanic.
Well, so okay, now Hispanics and blacks really don't get along traditionally, especially as cops, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're already secure, and you make your decision, dude. You make your decision. I'm just putting this shit out there. You really. Are you going to be in a position where you want to put that all at risk by putting everything on the line for probation? And how old are you?
I'm 42.
Okay,
I just turned 42 a couple days ago.
Okay, you're 42 years old. Do you really want to go and fucking be the low man on the totem pole and deal with some snot-nosed sergeant who's probably in their 30s, who's going to take you as a threat and tell you, hey, fucking Hernandez, go do that foot patrol over there? And what the fuck are you talking? If you don't know anything about cops, especially brass, they love to shit on people they can shit on because they get that abuse from their fucking spouses at home, and they're going to take it out on you. It's not, again, you're going to be driving around in your car. You're going to be taking paper. You're going to be doing proactive shit, stopping people, car accidents, fucking just boredom, whatever it is. All for what? For what? So you can carry a gun this time, and you can, God forbid, you're in Florida now. Now what happens in Florida when DeSantis is no longer your governor? And what happens when you get a liberal governor? Now all of a sudden, the pro-police movement may not be so on point. And then you're out of probation, and it's a couple of years from now, and you have to use your pistol on duty, and fucking everybody's got a video camera now, because everybody doesn't have a video camera when they're in the jail. Now all of a sudden it's Officer Hispanic dude who just shot a black guy who's unarmed. It's not what it was. I'm not dissuading you. I'm trying to get your eyes open so you know what you're going into and what your risk at. 42 years old. Can you keep your fucking mouth shut for the next 2 years when you go in? So that you don't give a citizen a reason to complain on you, and you don't give brass a reason to complain on you for you being insubordinate? You got a problem here? Can you, as a 42-year-old man, there's a million times I'm like, man, you know what? I should fuck all this and just go back to being a bartender. I'm 50. I'm 50. I could not sit there be behind a bar, as fun as it would be, and have some cock-sucking 20-something-year-old walk in with his gumad and whistle for me like I'm his boy. Like, I got a problem. We got a fucking problem. So these are things that you need to take in consideration before you do this job. If you're on a position where you can advance inside of the jail, I mean, the grass is not always greener. You're not going to, you want to challenge yourself, advance inside of the fucking jail. If it's political, we'll play the fucking game. Play the game. Maybe that should be your challenge. The grass is not greener. It is nothing more than, especially in today's day with law enforcement, the eyes on you. There's a camera everywhere, and you've seen nonstop online. It doesn't matter how justified you are in your actions. If you're the new guy, if you're in an area where you're hated, you're going to be thrown under the fucking bus. And then you have to deal. If you've already dealt with the people you're working with, are you ready to deal with the thin blue line? And maybe the guy you're working with, You know, he just he roughs somebody up a little bit too much. And coming from corrections, you guys go hands-on more than cops do. Are you willing to go to your command staff and say, hey, listen, and you're on probation. Yeah, I saw Officer so-and-so put somebody in handcuffs, and they cranked up the handcuffs, and they didn't double lock them, and the suspect was just, you know, he had the circulation cut off and blah, blah, and I just don't agree with it. Okay. Next thing you know, you're going to be written up for shit. It's not the world that you think it is. And if you've already got something great, me personally, if I was married with a family, there's not a fucking chance in hell I would risk that. That's just me.
I agree. I greatly appreciate the advice. That's why I texted, because you yourself, and I appreciate you've mentioned, you know, corrections as part of law enforcement.
It is. You guys get the fucking hardest job. We get to transport there, and then you guys get to deal with the pieces of shit. We're just the fucking taxi cab there.
Yeah, it's funny because you, like, when you said that you wear the backbone of law enforcement, did that resonate? Did that resonate really well to me on a day where I was just like,
who the fuck houses when you're in jail? You're in jail. If you have an 8-hour shift, 10-hour shift, you are in fucking jail, and you have to have a certain type of mental fortitude to do that. I couldn't do that. I am a narcissist. I need to be outside. I need to be seen. I need to be this. I fucking need to have my ego stroked. That's why I wasn't a correction officer, because I fucking didn't want to be inside where I wasn't fucking part of the community. But as far as what you guys do, you keep the evil at bay. I love the fucking memes. We fight the evil that you pretend doesn't exist. It's like, motherfucker, who do you think houses them? Who feeds them? Who deals with them? It's corrections. It's not fucking police.
And I'm a firm believer that you know, if you're going to law enforcement, you should do 2 years in corrections or 2 years in the jail minimum before you even think of having the thought of going over to anything else that you want to do within that career.
Minimum, yes, 100%. I mean, I don't want to dissuade you, but at the same time, it would be the worst for you to go into a job and then knowing you have 18 months where if you do not type a report right, they could bounce you. If the department has to make budget cuts and some bullshit to fund the police movement comes up, you're gone because you're the low man on the totem pole. If Black Lives Matter comes in protest, I mean, I'll never forget, I was in, I worked for Round Lake area, and Lake County was our county. And it was a different time. We used to have to bring to bond court. It was called the fishbowl. It was really fucked up. So when you brought bond court, if you worked day shift, you had the guys who were from the night before, they were holding over for bond court. You used to transport him there, and then you'd take your guy, and while he was handcuffed, you emptied everything. Both your pistols, your fucking knives, your OC, your taser, your pepper spray. You put it in a lockbox, so you were completely unarmed. And then on the outside, in between the courtroom and where the detainees were held, was the fishbowl. And it's where they look through the glass. They wait for their name for the judge to be called, to call them up in the snap. And you used to have to walk through that to get, and for the county sheriff to buzz you in to get to where you sat, right? And it was you put your guy up against the wall, you undid his handcuffs, and then you guided him in, and you would be in there with like 30 or 40 fucking pretrial detainees, inmates, and it was just you. And I'll never fucking forget, it was a cool moment, but there was a kid, he was probably 20, and he was just causing a problem, and the judge wanted him shut the fuck up. And I'm a cop, I'm not corrections. It's not my fucking building. I don't know their procedures. I don't know what, it's just a detainee. I don't know what rights he has or whatever. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. The judge wants you, blah, blah, blah. And before I can get that word out of my sentence, or the sentence out of my mouth, the door buzzed to the outside, and this giant fucking black lieutenant white shirt walks right in. He grabs this fucker by the face, takes him right outside. I go out for backup with him, and he goes, motherfucker, you're in my house, you will behave. And I went, oh, we can't do that on the street. We can't do. So if you act like that on the street, you're not going to get away with it. And again, everyone has rights, even detainees. I get it. But the point is it's a different animal of corrections than it is the people on the street. And if you're willing to throw that away, I mean, to sit there and go on 18 months to where, we don't like you, we got to bounce you, then you got to be prepared for the consequences. It's as simple as that.
Most definitely.
All right, appreciate your call, man. I hope that answers your question.
I appreciate you so much. I continue to support what you do. You're been a great help. I really appreciate the advice, man.
All right, stay safe out there. Appreciate that. And, if you stay, man, and I could ever do anything for you, just let me know.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
You have a good night.
You too. All right, 708-982-0974. Let me see who else is calling. That's your phone message. Let's see. 973, I'm calling you because you called a while ago.
Hello.
Hi, Manny.
Yes.
Hi, Dominic Izzo, and you're live on Cop Talk Live. What's going on?
Oh, okay. I'm watching. Let me turn this sound down.
I appreciate that. How's your night?
It's good so far.
Good. What can I do for you?
I was hoping you'd call me. I've talked to you before. I'll start out with this. Like the last time I talked to you, I told you everybody has a difference of opinion. We all have differences of opinions. That's what makes the world, is differences of opinion. So I just had two opinions, and I want to see if you agree or disagree with me.
Okay.
Okay. The first one was you was on about a week ago with Mike the cop.
Not Mike the cop. I was not on with him.
Cop Bill.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, if you pull up when you were talking to him, you'll see a picture of you on the left and him on the right.
Right.
Okay. The only thing I love you, man. I really do. And like I told you before, I have nothing against police in general. I'm just like you. I don't like bad cops. I hate them. Right. But good cops, I love them. The only thing that bothers me with you is that flag behind your head.
Okay.
I hate that flag. And if you look at the picture with you and Mike, you'll see, my screen just went off.
Yeah, he's got an American flag in the background. I've got an American flag that's all lit up blue.
Yeah, right. Something just happened here. It said, snap. I don't know what that means. Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. Okay, that was the only thing of that. I just disagree with that flag.
That's fine. I guess maybe if I looked back on as being a true patriot, maybe I would think it was denigrating the flag. But I don't. There was a time when I used to fly a blue line advancing flag behind me. But now it's just the theme. It's the purpose, right? It's kind of giving respect to the profession.
Well,
to
I
a
can
degree.
see it from your point, but my point, a lot of people's point, there's only one flag.
Yeah, I understand that.
Red, white, and blue, and that's all that matters. But that's not the reason I called. That I wanted to talk to you. Most of it is on, and you got a couple of new guys that are going to be cops. Guys that want to be cops. That last guy you were talking with, and that's great. If they're good cops, welcome. We need them. But I want to know if I could talk to them. If I ask them, if you're there and there's 10 cops around and one's and they're all beating the hell out of a guy, are you going to jump in and stop it? Or are you just going to stand there? Or are you going to help them? Or at least turn them in? That would be the one question I'd ask them. And if you would help them, then you're not ever going to be a good cop.
I don't know.
If you just stand there, you wouldn't be a good cop.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever a solution to that. I literally don't, because
it's very upsetting. There is a solution. There is a solution, and I think I might have it. My solution is first training they should get is common sense training. They should take a course in common sense training.
Well, my Professor Zoff was in the academy, said if it was common sense, everybody would have it. So I'll never forget that.
Yes. Well, that's why they need training. My other thing is, I don't think that anybody should be able to become a cop unless they do 2 full years in the academy. And I'm talking both physical, because a lot of these cops have a belly so big they can't see their feet, and they should be tested every month, both written tests and then verbally quizzed on everything.
It should be switched. It should be switched to license. It should go from certifications to license that you have to renew every 2 years. Constitution test. Yeah, there's a lot. I've said it a million times. I went to the academy for 3 months. My sister, who cuts hair, went to Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day for 11 months to get licensed. I got a certification. She had to renew every 2 years. Mine expired only when I left, like 3 years after I left. So yeah, it's ridiculous. I said that cops should be 30 before they're hired. Get rid of qualified immunity, have to pick up personal insurance. And the academy is one thing, but like with the last caller, I say 2 years minimum in corrections. They should do that because they need to learn how to deal with people with no weapons.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There should be absolutely no out of shape cops.
No,
if you're out of shape, if you get tested every year, okay, you gain 10 pounds. You better lose that 10 pounds, or you're not going to get back, or you're going to be off. What do you think of that?
I think that I know exactly what it's like because I did gain weight. We went to the fire department all the time to eat food with them, and we got fat. And I'm not going to run. One of my last years on, we got it wasn't a foot pursuit, but we were running from one place to the next, and I'm like, I can't fucking run anymore, man. Screw this shit. And it does. It takes a toll. It takes a toll on you. It really does. I align with what you're saying. I understand about the flag. It's not meant to disrespect, and it sure as shit not meant to represent the cult. I want to hijack the movement and turn it back into integrity. I want to change cop culture. That's the purpose for all this. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right, man. I'll talk to you. 708-982-0974, 708-982-0974. If you have something you want to say, shoot a text and I will call you. 903, call next. Don't forget to go to coptalklive.org and support the website.
Hey, Hugo.
Hey, how are you? What's going on?
Oh, not much. I caught the tail end of when I first jumped on about the officers not having fitness standards.
Yeah.
And that kind of shocked me because the 4 years that I was in corrections until my back went out and I was disabled, we had to do in-service every year, and we had to pass a fitness requirement. Running so far, carrying so much, all the climbing and all this crazy stuff. And I'm shocked that officers don't have that. You
know what you should be shocked over is they don't want it. If you implement a fitness standard for the department, they all fight it. Yeah. They all fight. This is what ours was. We implemented a fitness standard, not because we wanted it, but because command wanted to get rid of one of the officers. We had a guy who was 56, 57. He was my partner at the time, and the department didn't like him. They did everything to chase him out. One of the things they wanted to, because they knew that he was older, he's not going to fucking run a mile and a half and all this stuff, is they implemented a fitness standard. Not out of a level of pride for their officers, but to chase one out. It's vile. It's an embarrassment. I went to the gym every day. I don't run, but I fucking lift weights every day. It's like I'm a meathead. I'm not worried about my fitness. But I'm not going to sprint after somebody either. I got a radio, and there's younger cops for that shit. But I can't recall who it was, but I think it was a town in Arizona where their chief of police. This was like 2014, 2013. Their chief of police implemented a fitness standard, and the next thing you know, he found himself out of a job because the department all wrote up a vote of no confidence on him.
What in the hell?
It blows me away. It just blows me away. Absolutely blows me away.
Because, with who they're dealing with, right? They're typically not dealing with, the guy that's over 50 on the street that they're having to fight and wrestle with, right? And why wouldn't they want to be in better shape to do that?
This is why they're stupid, is because if you cannot fight and if you're out of breath, when you're out of breath, what's going to happen? You're going to lose the fight. Right? I say it now all the time. It's like if anybody gets in a fight with me, you got 15 seconds. Because at second 16, I'm gasping for air. So that's all you got is 15 seconds. So if I'm going to put somebody in custody and then second 16 comes around and you're still going and I'm losing my breath, what am I going to do? I'm going to up that level of force. And we see that with females on the street, right? How many times do we see a female who tried to pull somebody over for speeding, rips him out of the car, and next thing you know, it's 6 minutes later, she doesn't have, there's an Arkansas footage of this. She doesn't have the guy in custody. So what does she do? She goes to her pistol because she's losing the fucking fight. So, and she's going to be lawfully justified because you keep saying, well, he was resisting. It's a disgrace. Out of shape cops are fucking they're pigs. They're useless human beings.
Yeah. Well, there was a short time when we were understaffed, and so they were just hiring anybody that would, sit through the academy and not have the fitness standards. But then what ended up happening is some of them were too heavy, too old, or too whatever to even climb the 3 flights of stairs that we had on each wing.
Oh my God.
So, it was putting more stress on the officers that could do it than, having another warm body there.
Mm-hmm.
So they decided that was a bad idea. And, the 60 and 70-year-old ladies that decided to come back after retirement decided they wouldn't do that anymore.
Insane. It's insane. When you really think about it too, what does it say about somebody when they're out of shape, their uniform looks like shit, they don't polish their boots, they don't tailor their uniform? If they don't care about themselves, how do we ever expect any level of professionalism for them to do a job that literally it should be the highest level of standard of professionalism out there?
I would think so. I mean, because law enforcement officers on the street they're the ones that are seen all the time. Why wouldn't they have some pride in their department?
Corrections should too. You think some fucking guy in jail is going to give a shit about it if you don't look professional? They're not.
Well, that's true.
Not going to take you seriously.
But I don't know that I was anything special necessarily, other than I gave respect to start off with, but I demanded it in return. But my dad was ex-Army, right? So polishing my boots and having my uniform pressed and starched and, all that was just everyday stuff for me growing up, right?
I'm not a tall man. I'm 5'7". So the advantage I had was how I looked. And I always had my boots polished and my sleeves tailored and my fucking uniform clean. I always had that. You want to look presentable. You want every advantage possible. So it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So,
but I agree with you 100%. We shouldn't have anybody under 30 on the street or in corrections. And cops really do need to be in corrections at least, 2 to 3 years, because that is where you learn how to deal with people with your words.
Hey, Dominic.
Because in my state, we couldn't go hands-on unless we could find a reason to do so.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotta be able to justify
and I'm talking those guys had their lawyers on speed dial. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the least little thing, you hit one of them or you touch one of them, and they are screaming lawsuits.
A lot of people, they know the law better than cops do.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I appreciate your call. It's good to talk to you again.
Susan.
Thank you. I'll talk to you.
Right.
Guys, 708-982-0974. Play some voicemails. I'm backed up on them. I haven't played them in a while. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and I'm sorry about this delay.
Long time guy. I've been listening to you. I'm a black guy. One thing I want to make sure you don't do. Hey, Dominic. Hey, I'm a long time guy. I've been listening to you. I'm a black guy. One thing I want to make sure you don't do, man, on this one video, you basically said it's a cult. Well, hypocrisy when racial profiling cops become racially profiled. I agree with you to a certain degree, except when you say it's a cultural thing, because basically you made it seem like all black people fit into this one stereotype. So, not everyone does. Just came off that way. Anyway.
No, I appreciate that, but if you have to preface an argument with not everyone, then it's a generalization. Generalizations are for a reason. And the video you're talking about there was a Chicago cop that was pulled over, I believe, in Arizona, and he was arrested. And yes, culture comes from within a race. So culture is comprised of two major major contributing factors when it comes down to people and a culture, right? It's how they look and it's how they speak. So let's take, for argument's sakes, black men, right? Well, black men is not a culture. Black men is a race. You could take a black man and put him in a fucking 3-piece suit and have him speak the Queen's English to the properest, most enunciation on the planet, and you're going to get a group of black men who look like that. That's a culture. Now you take black men who all dress a certain type of way. Baggy pants that are sagged around their ass, oversized jackets, dreads in their hair, and they all speak like fucking Cardi B, and you can't understand a word they're saying with their gold teeth, chains, malt liquor, and weed. Is that black men or is that their culture? When you move to the United States from a different country and you move to a New York, let's just say you came from China and you speak Cantonese, are you going to move to Little Italy? Those round eye don't look like you and they don't talk like you. You're going to move to where your culture is, where the people look like you and they talk like you. So there's a very important difference between race and culture. Culture is within race, because you could have a white guy who dresses with dreads who sounds like Cardi B and he speaks within that culture. There's a big difference. So not all, no one said all, but culture, yes, culture all has a commonality.
Hey, how you doing? I've watched you a few times. My name is Shelton, and I want you to understand that you have to understand the 14th Amendment and who created it and for what reason. This is a Protestant country that's been usurped by the Jesuit order and the Roman Catholic Church. And all the police officers today are enforcing Roman canon law. Okay? There's the problem. Nothing good can come out of it because of that. When you understand the 3 city states, the first one is Vatican City. The second one is a place called the City of London, where the Robert Peel Act of 1829 was issued.
Sir Robert Peel.
Okay. And it's all Vatican. Same thing with the creation of Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, and its territories, and the United States, the corporation. It's all in the all caps. It's called the Act of 1871 that created that disgusting place called Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, and its territories, and the United States, the corporation, in the all caps. It did not exist prior to this date, but it was all planned out by the international criminals of the Inquisition. Okay? So if you read the Council of Trent, you'll see where it says that you were not allowed to read the King James Bible.
You continued. Oh, do we have the rest of your voicemail? A lot of what you said, I appreciate, and we actually talk about that. If you enjoy that content, we talk about that Monday through Friday live at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Rants of Izzo show. You can check that out on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. Rants of Izzo show from 1220 Media. You can go and check that out.
Hey, Dominic, how you doing tonight? I'm watching your live show.
Do I call you already?
I just have a couple of...
Yeah, I did call you. Appreciate that. We just talked about the flag and everything. And then do I have one more voicemail?
Hi, this is Mark Light. I don't know if it was me and you that spoke online or on email. I'm trying to find your live blog.
Oh, I think we did talk. We did talk too. There's that. Guys, I appreciate you. See if anybody else has texted anything. Good. We do this live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we want to change cop culture. I don't have the answers. I have the ability to bring up. I'm a fire starter. I walk someplace, light a match, fucking light that fire, and I walk off while the other people go ahead and try to put it out. The people who are smarter than me. The purpose of this channel is to change cop culture. It's to bring integrity back. It's so that you people, you kids who are doing the job, fucking you have some type of professionalism for it. I don't have all the answers. I know the grievances. I know what I would change, and I know I would like to see done. But it's you guys out there who are the smarter people than me that can help change cop culture. Yeah. Dave Portner, 5'7", over 200 pounds and physically imposing. Yeah, he command respect. Oh, Dave, fucking when I sit on your mom's face, she doesn't have a problem with it. You son of a bitch. Michael Ross, I'm pro law enforcement, anti-cop, sick of unprofessional, lazy cops, hate the thin blue line flag, and appreciate you and what you're doing. Hopefully, you could turn things around. I hope so too, man. Hang on, we just had one call. Let me see if I can do this better.
Hello?
Hey, we're live. We'll close out the night with you. Did I miss your call?
No, you didn't miss it. I just was trying to figure out how to text you.
Oh, no, man. Did you want to talk?
Well, I just wanted to bounce off you about the officer safety, and I was security for 10 years, and I had a lot of dealings with the cops doing that, and catching a rapist murderer, the cops wouldn't show up to do.
Okay.
So I just want to bounce that off you and see what your opinion is about.
Re-explain that again, because I thought I heard something, but I'm not quite sure.
About being security for 10 years.
Go ahead. I heard that.
And the Clark County Police Department never respond to us. They just say, handle it yourself. And security ain't supposed to manhandle nobody. And I did catch the rapist murderer.
Okay.
And the police wouldn't show up. And then all they did is take me into the courthouse for interrogation on the bullshit, and want to know why I'm alive. No thanks to you.
No thanks to me. I had nothing to do with it.
Not you. I mean, the police department.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you're calling to express frustration with the police, I don't think there's ever going to be a shortage of that in the world.
I don't think so either, but I just live where I live. It's always about this officer safety. And my opinion of it is, if you're that damn scared, you shouldn't be a cop.
Yeah, I understand that. And there's on one aspect of it, though, the other thing is, are you saying that cops cannot be scared?
Well, as I said, I was a security for 10 years. I didn't have a whole lot of fear at all facing men that, talk and act like they're going to take my birthday away. And I had to, fight a couple of them. But if you know how to take care of yourself, it's not a big problem.
Now, can you agree that there's always going to be some circumstance out there that could put some human being in a state of that fight or flight?
Yes.
And it's just a natural response?
Yes. I know that.
No, that's
but
just natural.
If you're going to be a cop, you got to control it.
And no one says that officer safety is brought out of fear either. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard the saying, unaddressed behavior is condoned behavior?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so I'll explain a scenario. And you tell me if I'm scared or if I'm smart. Let's say, for argument's sakes, whatever the circumstance is, I'm called to a scene, I proactively come to a scene, I'm just doing a contact, whatever, and you are walking towards me. I don't know you, have no idea, and I'm assuming maybe you're an awesome, I'm making no assumptions about you whatsoever. I'm neutral. You could be a great human being. You could be an asshole. It's not neither one's against the law. And as you walk towards me, I don't say, sir, do me a favor, take your hands out of your pockets. And I don't say that, right? because now the world thinks that I should not be scared. I shouldn't be scared of being shot by somebody who may have a gun concealed on them. Now, I'm not scared about it. I'm not scared about being shot, but I don't say, sir, do me a favor. Just take your hands out of your pockets when you come up here. It's just for officer safety. And you get it within a certain distance from me and you pull out a gun and you shoot me dead. Was I stupid for not addressing a behavior that could have saved my life, that we qualify being under officer safety? Or would you have think I was scared and stupid for saying, oh, hey, do me a favor, take your hands out of your pockets because I just don't know you. That's just a safety issue. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about that
Well,
part.
no, but no, you said
yeah.
scared. So that's the point, is anytime that we get somebody out of a car for a traffic stop, it's not officer safety because they're scared. It's officer safety because you're mitigating issues. Why would I keep someone in a car if my spidey sense is going off, if I've been doing the job for X amount of years, if I know, shit, I could just tell by the pattern of behavior of this person, they're going to speed away. And when they speed away, they're going to wreck out a mile down the road and kill a family of 4. I just don't want that hassle. I'm going to remove the problem before it happens by asking that person to step out of the car. And because I can articulate it because of Pennsylvania versus Mims, I'm going to leverage that to eliminate a problem. Am I scared or am I smart?
Well, that part sounds smart.
Well, that's what most cops, if they were actually smart, they would articulate that stuff. The problem is they know it. They don't know how to explain it. And the public thinks that they're just scared for their safety. And then they get the opinion that they're just stupid. And that's an abuse of authority.
I've pretty much gone by what I deal with here where I'm at. During the 10 years of being a security guard and having to deal with, and some of them officers I've seen don't look like they could take care of themselves to begin with.
Most don't. Most are slobs. Most are stupid. Most can't even tell you, about abusing the First Amendment. Most don't even know what the fucking Fourth Amendment is. You're not wrong. It's like a lot of times when I say shit, like I just explained that, it's really a backhanded compliment to police because I'm hoping some cop is listening and they're going, oh shit, yeah, I should have known that's why we justify officer safety and Pennsylvania versus Mims. And it's kind of like looking at somebody going, hey, dumb fuck. You know this is why you're doing it, not just because you're scared, right? So what you're saying is legitimate. I'm not arguing with it all. I'm trying to solve a problem by getting practicality out there. And in the process, I do want to educate the public. Because a lot of times the public, what's the color law? What's your reasonable articulable suspicion? They don't fucking know. They just hear buzzwords and shit and they say it. And at the same time, as much as I rag on cops, the public's just as fucking stupid. So it's just my view. I don't disagree with you.
But on the other hand, like I said, I did catch a rapist killer trying to break in the building to get the cleaning lady, and I didn't give him any time to react before I took him to the ground.
Good.
And eliminated him from doing anything.
There you go. You eliminated the threat.
Or the lady. But I had to release him because the sheriff department would not respond to my call.
I understand, and I appreciate that, and it's aggravating, and I thank you for your call.
I appreciate you letting me bounce that off.
Of course, man. Call in next time, anytime you want to. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, last one. Guys, do not forget, if you go to coptalklive.org, or if you check out the video that you're watching now or listen to the podcast of this, there's a link. It says support. If you click it, it will take you to PayPal, Cop Talk Live. Support the channel. Help us grow. Share the link out. Tell people about this. Call in. Enjoy it. And let's continue this culture together. All right, let's do this. Hello.
Hey, Dominic?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. I just muted my TV so we're not getting any back feed.
Awesome. Well, how does it look on the TV? What size are you watching on?
Excuse me?
What
What'd
size?
you say?
You watching on TV?
Yeah, I'm watching you on YouTube.
How big is the TV? How's this look?
Oh, it looks really good. It's about I don't know, 50-something inch.
Damn, I'm in your living room, man. Now
It's the nicest one in the house. You're the same size as me.
Trust me, I'm probably shorter. All right, let's close the night out. What do you got?
Man, listen, I just want to say I've watched your show several times. I really enjoy what you do. Appreciate what you do. You know, I listen to everybody's opinion on here, and we're all assholes. We all have them and stuff. But you guys were on officer safety tonight. This is a big one for me. You know, I appreciate people that do dangerous jobs, man. I come from a lot of firefighters. You know, it takes a lot, man, to run into a building to save strangers you don't know. And I get some police officers that run toward the gunfire and all that stuff. I get it. Okay. But my thing is, you know, you were talking about if somebody's walking up to you and they got their hands in their pockets. Well, you know, what month is it? Is it freezing outside? Do they, you know, to ask somebody at random to take their hands out of their pockets without them being, you know, everybody has that gut instinct, you know, like this guy's weirding me out or this guy's, you know, it's just, I do think that's an intrusion. But my question is this, for all police officers, I wanted to be a police officer when I was younger. And I came to my senses, thank God. But where is the office of, you know, where are these guys drafted in at? Where you don't, a lot of the police officers, they forget that they chose one morning to get up and go down and apply for this job. Nobody twisted their arm. They weren't like drafted by a draft board to go do this. And I appreciate those that are brave enough to go do it. But when your training's done, right? You've been through the academy and they've trained you to their standards, you know, which could use some work, you know, as far as making, you know, you take a rookie cop they're just not aware of what the Bill of Rights is, first of all, which is, you know, I'm paying to train these guys. It's 10 things. If you can't memorize 10 things, why am I giving you a gun? You know, but I see all these officers that have no idea about your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, you know, Fourth, Fifth, all that. So my question is, you know, when it comes to officer safety, you know, at some point you have to, you know, like the guy was saying before, yeah, you have the right to be scared, but you should have known that before you went in and volunteered to take this job on. And so you can't get into the mix later when, you know, now your pension and your paycheck and your livelihood's on the line and decide, I'm just going to ignore people's rights now because I have to do this job. I was given an order, you know.
What right? So we'll and I'm not disagreeing with you, right? But it's all I want to see is the other side of it. What right is your, how do I word this? Because I don't know the answer to this, right?
Right.
How far should officer safety be extended? Do you think that cops should have to take a round in the vest first before they return fire?
Well, first of all, when I was a kid, and I know things have changed a lot, I'm almost 50. When I was a kid, their officers didn't have vests. They weren't dressed for battle, first of all, you know, and I think that has a lot to do with the attitude of officers and the public in general. You know,
so that's a good thing. Should we go back to no vests? Because why should they be scared of being shot? They chose the job to go into this.
Right. Well, I'm one of those armed society is a polite society.
I'm right there with you. I think that I think any person that does not exercise their Second Amendment is a fucking moron. I really do.
Every officer should assume that everybody they deal with is loaded for bear. You know.
There's a lot of hypocrisies because I know it's illegal as a citizen, I believe, to own body armor.
Right.
So your argument, and we can go back and forth. I get it.
Yeah.
And I get painted. It's just, I don't have a solution for it because I did the job and I was scared of fucking walking into a home and you got a guy with a giant pit bull there and I'm like, fuck, because I know the pit bull is going to see me as a threat to the home. I'm not scared of it, but I was like, damn, I don't want to get bit. That's what I'm scared. I wasn't scared on traffic stops. I had my asshole puckered once when we had a suicidal subject who did have a gun laid out in front of him, and we had to go down a winding staircase to his basement. My asshole puckered on that call. But I mean, outside of that, there was really no scared. You were just alert. But I wasn't stupid. I mitigated. Here's the way that I view it: use of force. Okay.
Right.
My telling you, sir, do me a favor. Take your hands out of your pockets. I just want to make sure, and just put them up here. That is eliminating me having to shoot you later on if you do something stupid. If you present the pistol, you present the knife, you do a furtive movement, you rip out really, and I can articulate it. I am not doing that for my fucking scared. I'm doing it so I don't have any additional fucking paperwork that could cost me my job later. I'm going to take you out of the car so that I can sit there and do a proper investigation to prevent you from driving off, to prevent you from fucking, I don't know, reaching for something. And then you reach and I got to go, oh shit, he's reaching for, and I pull a pistol out and it escalates. The way that I viewed officer safety was, it was cutting off the problem before it started. That's how I viewed officer safety.
Oh, I get it. Because they get you in there and they tell you that. I've heard
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to tell you, in the academy, they had us believe every single call you go to, you are risking being shot. They beat that into us and brainwashed it. The 94-year-old woman, you call, or she calls 911 because she has a problem opening up her meds. You're going to go there. You better look on the counter because she's got a gun there and she's going to shoot you with it. They had us believing that all
and you guys get to go home to your family every night. And
that's what they say, right? Make sure you go home to your family. Yeah.
I know, friend. Yeah. Like, and I don't have any answers either. I'm still looking. One of the things that got me into all this, when I was 21, many years ago, before YouTube, before Google, because I always, I've had several officers be, well, what are you, a YouTube lawyer? No, sir. I actually stepped in the libraries. I had to because there was no Google when I started this. But I was wrongfully accused of something as a youngster and got to go through the whole legal system, but it inspired me. It's like, if I don't learn this, then it will be used. So, and what I found through all this is a lot of information that they don't want the general public to have because that's how you protect yourself.
Ignorance. Keep people ignorant, 100%.
Exactly. So I just, I try to go, and anytime I can get someone to sit down with me for 5 minutes and go over some aspect of the law about what your personal property is, what your rights are, a lot of people just are oblivious to it, so a lot of it, you get the government you deserve, right? So with my friends and neighbors and stuff, if I can get somebody to listen for a minute, I believe that you get if you educate locally, it spreads globally,
No, I appreciate that. I don't disagree with anything you say. It's a good issue. These are good conversations to have.
I really appreciate what you're doing because I do get to hear both sides. I am a little bit more on the non-law enforcement side. It's like, because I've got friends that are police officers, some very high-ranking fellers there. But here's the thing, is I know at some point during their career, they witnessed, if not themselves, but at least a partner or somebody violate someone else's right, just straight, and they'll never take the stand against them because you can't, because that's where your job stops. I have a fear of drowning, so I don't work on boats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I stay on dry land. So,
I appreciate that.
I'm a musician by trade. That's where I've spent most of my study time at is, trying to make pretty noise.
You got a website or anything you want to plug?
I don't, okay. But I appreciate you asking. I sit on the couch. I play my guitar. I smoke my cigarettes. And I watch, guys like you. And, I love the auditing, because it gives you, I'm from Mississippi, by the way. So I grew up with that form of law enforcement.
You got to support. You got a state trooper out there who's fighting to expose corruption. Trooper Ivanka
Yes,
Williams.
Yes.
She's somebody to support.
Exactly. I watched your interview with her. I would love to go visit her and maybe buy a gun or something, or, get my gun decorated.
Yeah, go show her some support.
Because my other friend that I was referencing, we grew up, we're basically brothers. He was on the governor's guard during not the roly-poly we have now, but the guy that we had before, Rick Scott. He was on his guard. So he knows a thing or two about a thing or two. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we grew up together, so we have candid conversations. And I don't hold anything back with him, about all this stuff. It's like, I love that dude, and he loves me back, and we'd do anything for each other. But I'm like, man, this is screwed up. He's like, yeah, but
no, I appreciate that. I get it.
He's never really got a great answer for me on any of that stuff. But here's, at the end of the day, here's where it is for me. The world is a dangerous place. None of us asked to be born. None of us actually know when we're going to die. If you really trust in if you want to call it God or the universe or whatever, you didn't get to pick when you got here. You don't get to pick when you leave. Try to have a good time and be nice between those two periods. So yeah, you might your last day at work might have been a gunshot wound to the face, but you might choke on a peanut next week at a ball game. Or, you could become allergic to corn.
Trying to end this on a positive note. You were doing so well.
Sorry.
All right, I appreciate that. I get the message, and it's great.
Yeah, but everybody, life's precious. Every day is, a gift. Enjoy it as such. To all the criminals and the bad people out there that, you want to take stuff that's not yours or put your hands on other people, or, you want to touch a kid or whatever, you're not stupid. Well, you are stupid, but look around you, because there's a lot of people like myself, that I'm just not going to put up with certain
and we're thankful. We're thankful for you guys out there. Appreciate that. Appreciate your call.
Myself, and if I see somebody weaker than myself being, unfairly, I will defend them too.
Good.
That's just inherent. I don't need a badge.
Appreciate that. I'm going to cut you off. I appreciate that.
Right,
and thank you.
God bless you. And I
too.
Appreciate you.
You too. Have a great night. Good,
yes, sir.
Good call to end on, guys. We'll continue this every week. We do this Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 708-982-0974. You guys can text during the week, call anytime you want to. Leave a voice. Don't leave a voicemail. There's Cop Talk Live, Changing Cop Culture, the website. Go check it out for articles, videos, everything Cop Talk for the changing of the culture, what we're doing, and make sure you go and support the channel. You go to YouTube, Rumble, wherever you're watching. There's a link to PayPal. Donate, support the channel, help us keep going, help us keep growing, help us keep spreading this culture that we can hopefully change together. Other than that, you guys have a great damn night. Appreciate everything you've been doing. And let's change cop culture together. Be safe out there.